Good morning, audience from all over ASEAN sub-region or Southeast Asia and beyond. My name is Montagan Suwanathap Kitipai Sansin.
And my name is Esther Uwopo Silvestre from UNESCO. We would like to thank you. Welcome to the webinar Harnessing Digital Tools for Greater Community Involvement in Sustainable Tourism Narrative.
So this webinar is the fourth activities under our latest project, Achieving Sustainable Tourism with Intangible Cultural Heritage and Creative City Network in Waterway City of ASEAN. The project has been kindly supported by ASEAN-Turkey Cooperation, Designated Area for Sustainable Tourism Administration of Thailand, or DASTA, International Training Center for Intangible Cultural Heritage in Asia Pacific Region, or CREHAP, K11 Department Store, and Onyx Hospitality Group. UNESCO also implements this project in collaboration with the City Connects, Be Consulting Cambodia, and Thailand CPTI.
This project is for tourism professionals in ASEAN sub-region. It has been organizing altogether 6 webinars like this and 1 on-site workshop in Nan Old City in the northern Thailand early this year in February. We're happy to see many of both familiar and new faces in this webinar and hope that our continuing webinar activities will help bring people in tourism sector in ASEAN closer to one another for your future work collaboration.
Yes, so to continue with the objective in mind, we would like to start this webinar on the Harnessing Digital Tool for Greater Community Involvement with a keynote speech by Kun Pathamon Rungchawanon, Head of Solutions Mapping at the UNDP Accelerator Lab, Thailand.
Accelerator Lab is a UNDP strategic initiative to deliver a new generation of human-centered solutions to address complex global development challenges. This is where Kun Patamwon has worked as the head of solutions mapping since 2021, a social anthropologist from Oxford University. Patamwon has various work experience prior UNDP, such as at Mahidol University, Thai Public Broadcasting Service, or Thai PBS, and more recently, the Director of Operations at the Me Fa Luan Foundation under royal patronage, managing development programs in Thailand and Myanmar to improve the livelihoods of underprivileged communities. With passion for traveling, Patamwon also authored UNDP Thailand's blog series on sustainable tourism to share Thailand's experience in fostering community-based tourism as well as inclusive tourism.
So her talk today will explore how local communities can be empowered and involved in tourism sustainably with digital innovations and how we can build collaborative digital solutions for sustainable tourism development. So dear audience, during the keynote, if you would like to post any questions, please type in the chat box or in the question functions of the Zoom. We can take the questions from both locations. We will read your question for the Kun Patanmon to answer after her presentation. So her presentation will be around 20 minutes. So without stalling any further, Kun Patanmon, please take the floor.
Thank you very much, Ka. Let me share my screen here. Okay. Good morning, everyone. It is my absolute pleasure and honor to be here with you today. I would like to thank UNESCO and the organizer for inviting me to share my perspective and work experience that I have done with the UNDP Accelerator Lab on sustainable tourism, particularly the use of digital innovation for empowering local communities. If I may take a 1-minute introduction to the Accelerator Lab, what we are and why we are involved in this topic in the first place. So basically, the UNDP Accelerator Lab, or ACLab in short, is a global learning network that UNDP established to accelerate learning on sustainable development, to innovate the way we do development. And we have 92 labs serving 118 countries around the world. The Thailand ACLab is one of them. And the ACLab is attached to the country office of UNDP. We have the flexibility to work on issues that are priorities to those countries. And as an ACLab Thailand, you can imagine that tourism is definitely one of our priority area in the country. And I think it's true for the region as well. So I'm very happy to be sharing with you today the work that we have done in Thailand, but I think it can apply to many other contexts as well. Now, when I first received the topic of this webinar, I see 3 keywords popping up for me. digital tools, local communities, and sustainable tourism. So I start to think about the relationship between these three keywords. And many might think that today we're focusing on digital tools. However, I like to offer an alternative perspective that actually what we are focusing on ultimately is sustainable tourism. And in order to achieve this agenda of sustainable tourism, we need to involve the local communities. And in order to empower the local communities, that's where digital tools come into the picture. Only one of the tools among many tools that can help to empower local communities. So I think it's useful to keep this framework in mind that our focus is actually not so much on the digital tools, but how can we enable the local community to advance their sustainable tourism initiative. And digital tool can be a means to that end, not an end in itself. Now, I mentioned about sustainable tourism. From the perspective of UNDP, we have observed a pattern in the past that tourism has been focusing a lot on the short-term economic growth, which inevitably leave the negative impact on the social and the environmental aspect. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, I think many countries, including Thailand, get a chance to rethink its tourism and trying to reposition how do we develop our tourism sector. And that's where a lot of discourse on sustainable tourism become popular and gaining momentum. So how do we do our tourism in a way that is also balance the economic, the social, and the environmental aspect, and allow it to become an engine for sustainable development? So this is our goal, what we're trying to achieve. In practice, how do we achieve this sustainable tourism agenda? We argue at UNDP that we have to engage the local communities, not only as the beneficiary, but also as the key driver. So this is why we become involved in trying to strengthen the community-based tourism sector in Thailand, CBT in short, community-based tourism, because we see that CBT is the model of tourism management that put the local people at the center of the process. Empower them to be the one who do the planning of what they would like to see in the tourism development, make the decision and manage the tourism activities in their area, being the driver as well as beneficiary. And why do we think that CBT is critical for the achievement of sustainable tourism? I like you to imagine two scenarios, one where we have external operator, investor from outside, and another one where we have the local community deciding on the planning. Who do you think would have the incentive to make the long-term growth of this destination? I would say it has to be the local communities, because every touristic destination, on top of being a touristic destination, it is also the home of the local people. So local people are naturally incentivized to think long-term about how they like to see their home become. Of course, economic growth is something everybody wants, but at the same time, how do they ensure that their society, their environmental condition will not deteriorate with the development of tourism? So this is where we think CBT come into the picture, and we should empower the CBT sector. So arriving at the last keyword, digital tools, in the context of trying to empower local community to drive sustainable tourism. I think the keyword here to add to the word digital tool is appropriate. When we talk about digital tools, digital technologies, many people might think about some very fancy cutting edge tools that we would like to explore, like a new toys. But when we think about how to apply digital tools to empower local community, it has to be something that is appropriate to them. It's not too far-fetched for them. It is addressing their needs. I think that's what we need to focus on. So the example that I would like to give in my presentation today that we have done in UNDP is going to be something very, very basic. And I hope it's not too basic for you, but I think it's something basic that truly make a difference for the local community engaging in tourism. As you may guess, the first one we cannot ignore is the social media platform, social media marketing. The example I put up here is the work of UNDP together with a local community in Sakol Nakhon province in the northeast of Thailand, the community named Nong San. And this is a community where UNDP incubate them from day one to help them explore their local identity and how to package it to become a CBT offer. And they're very, very famous now for the local craft and organic agriculture. And in the case of Nong San, they also use social media such as Facebook as their their main channel of communication with their target customer, telling the story of their traditional life and craft. As you can see, the use of social media is not only about setting up a page, but how to empower the community to understand the art of storytelling, not only through text, but also through photograph to basic design, so that they can tell their story in an attractive way. And they can adjust the use of the social media in so many different ways. Apart from selling all the tourism package and product, I would like to mention this a little bit, that with Nong San community, after the initial incubation, UNDP actually went back in to discuss with them about what they can do as the next step to really advance the sustainability aspect of their work. And Kun Miu Pon, the lady that you see on the screen here, she is the young leader of the CBT group in Nong San, and she told me that well, basically Nong San is famous for textile, right? So there's an issue of leftover textile, leftover yarns that cannot be used. So she's very interested in working on circular textile, and we actually support her to do some small scale prototype that could maybe recycle the leftover yarns to become raw materials again. And this initiative, I would proudly say that it failed. It did not fly. However, it did ignite Kun Miu's interest, and she went on to explore partnership with the private sector, actually a large-scale company that do recycling textile, and now they have been partnering to shift the leftover material from the community, recycle them at the factory large scale, and then send back the raw material for the community to do the sustainable textile collection. So this is the kind of story that Kun Miu Pon also share on the social media of Nong San community to kind of build the momentum for sustainability initiatives. I think this is something that we really need to work with the community and build the capacity to do this kind of thing that would help them to keep moving forward on the sustainability initiative. So that's example number one. Example number two that I would like to share with you is work that UNDP done with another community in the far south now in Yala province, Julapon Patana 9. During the time of COVID, well, the late period of COVID, it was a chance for the community to reflect and review what they have done so far. This community is famous for their nature-based tourism, Halabara Forest, Bang Lang Lake, the waterfall nearby the community, very beautiful place. So they were thinking, how do they do more? How do they keep advancing their tourism offer that is also in alignment with biodiversity conservation, because that's what they're trying to achieve as well, apart from the economic side. So we tell them, well, why don't you also think about engaging with the visitor, with the tourists? You have the big fans that maybe repeatedly visit, or maybe already visit one time or two times your community. Why don't you co-create with them? We try to introduce this approach of co-creation, and we launched this very small and very simple Zoom session, mini co-creation session, that we invite the tourists to co-create with the local community, together analyze the strengths and the highlights and what the tourists like to see more at the Julapon Patana 9 community. And out of this mini co-creation session that's cost nothing at all, they finally arrive at the idea of developing bird watching activity. And actually one of the tourists in that mini co-creation session turned out to be an ex-member of the Bird Watching Association of Thailand, and he was eager to provide his knowledge, provide the training to the local community, together with the support of equipment from UNDP. Then the community was able to build the capacity and launch the bird watching as an additional activity that of course highlight the value of their biodiversity in their area. So that's another example, but I would like to say that this online platform does not only serve in terms of creating local activities, but also in connecting the local voice to the policy level. This is a work that UNDP has done with the Designated Area for Sustainable Tourism Administration of Thailand, or DASTA, also the partner of this webinar. During the time of the COVID, as it's a time of reflection for everyone, we actually organized a series of Zoom sessions that convene the stakeholders, starting from diverse local communities in Thailand, and then eventually connecting to stakeholders in other sectors, governmental agency, the private sector, the academia that involved in CBT to discuss, to reflect on CBT development in Thailand and how we can move forward. What is the way forward that we want to see? So this has been a very instrumental step to amplify the voice of the community and invite participation of all stakeholders that are relevant to this issue. And at the end, we are able to gather all the perspective or the inputs from the stakeholder and create this infographic on the desirable future of CBT, what we would like to see in Thailand, and what are the mechanisms that we have to have in place in order to arrive at that ideal picture. So you can see here that, again, this online platform can be utilized on many, many levels, from very local level in co-creating activities for the CBT that is in alignment with sustainability initiative to connecting local level to the policy level. Okay, I think everything I say so far give you an example of the power of very, very simple digital tools that we can use free of charge. Everything I show you is actually done out of zero budget. There's no investment involved. We just have to convene, connect with the partner to do these things. However, I like to also emphasize that everything we have done, we always start with the needs of the people, not the tools. We never start with the tools. We always start with the need of the people and let those needs guide us on what tools to use. So on this note, I would like to share one final case study, which I think would provide you an interesting case of where we use the co-creation approach and community engagement and arrive at the user-centered digital solution. This is the work that UNDP has done with DASTA and Nutty Adventure, a social enterprise in Thailand, in developing community-based tourism for all. This is the work we have done last year. Briefly about tourism for all, some of you may wonder what is it and why do we have to look at this now? Tourism for all is a type of tourism that empowers the stakeholder in the ecosystem to be able to welcome tourists of all backgrounds. We often think of people with disability as the main persona when we develop tourism for all. However, I would like to point out that if we can develop tourism for all, it would not only benefit people with disability, but a very wide range of population, especially the aging population that you can see becoming a global demographic trend now. In Thailand and globally, the aging population is rising, is increasing significantly. So if we are able to build our capacity in terms of infrastructure, in terms of services, to be able to accommodate tourism for all, this will be a competitive advantage for our countries. So that's why we need to work on this topic now before it's too late. Maybe it's already too late. So when we first get into this topic, of course, we understand that we need to gain an understanding on the experience, on the tourism experience of people with disability. So what did we do? Something very simple again. We launched an online survey throughout our network. And this online survey utilizing free of charge platform like Google Form to collect information and consolidate them and analyze them and come up with this lovely infographic that already paint a picture of where people with disability like to visit, what kind of destination, how often do they travel, who do they travel with. And we already see some interesting insight, like the traveling with who section. You may assume that, oh, people with disability will always have to travel with some other people who can support them. But actually, 12% travel alone. Another 11% travel with friends with disability. So this overturned our assumption entirely. But we realized that, okay, just the numbers itself give some picture, but it does not tell the whole story. So we need to also get an in-depth explanation that we have gained through online focus group. Again, we just connect to the network, inviting them to join our focus group, share their stories, the real life story that they encounter in the positive and the negative sense. So we understand what is going on. And what we realize from all this information, both the statistics and the storytelling that come out of the focus group, we realize that there's actually a lot of interest and effort that people try to improve their facility or to support people with disability. But what is missing is the knowledge. They do not understand that maybe small details like the steepness of the ramp make a difference. If the ramp is too steep, it cannot be used. So we conclude that the problem that we have at hand when we talk about tourism for all is actually this. The people who are developing tourism for all are not the user. The user are not the one who are creating the solution. So it's a mismatch between the creator and the user. Therefore, co-creation approach is the answer. We need to engage people with disability or any user in your story to co-create with you. That is the way that you will truly understand their needs and create appropriate solution. So when I say co-creation, I mean every step of the way from the very beginning, problem identification, we engage with them, having them be the one who point out where the problem lies, solution design, as well as development and testing of those solutions. So if there's something that goes wrong, they can feedback right away. And because of this co-creation process that we apply, we are able to develop a few prototypes last year that help foster tourism for all. One prototype that I like to show today is the one that is related to digital solution. As you realize that when you travel, you do not just go and without any information beforehand, right? You need to search for the information and you need to know what you will see, what you confront when you arrive at those destinations. This is true for people with disability as well, even more so for them because they need to see whether the facility can accommodate them to access the venue. So this is the task that we have. How do we overcome this gap of data? And at first we thought regularly, like any solution developer, like you usually think, maybe we can develop a new application or a new website, new platform that provides this information. But if we ask ourselves, and if you ask our friend who is the user of this, the people with disability that we involve in the co-creation process, do you want new application? The answer is no, we do not. The user do not need new application that will take up space in their phone, but they want something that is embedded in the existing solution that they are already using. So this is how we arrive at the idea of uploading photos and video to be evidence of what they will see at the venue onto Google Maps, because Google Maps is already widely adopted. Everyone who travels use them for finding the route to get there, the details of what they will see, the opening time, everything. So why don't we include this accessibility facility information on the Google Map? So we end up training the local community to be able to take photos, take basic video, edit videos to upload on Google Map and show the people with disability that if they visit, what facility will be ready for them. Let me switch the screen share quickly so that you can see this is the actual result from the training. So we have a community in Suphanburi, Utong. This is a destination that offer tourism experience, and they now have like a short video clip.
ชมรมส่งเสริมการท่องเที่ยวโดยชุมชนเมืองโบราณทวารวดีอู่ทองเป็นที่จัดกิจกรรมยายดมหัวโตภาคใต้มีการ
So it show you one of the location in the CBT route
รถเข็น
or the
แล้ว
ramp
ก็
that they
ห้อง
have
น้ำสำหรับผู้
and
ที่
the
ใช้รถเข็นแล้วก็
toilet that is friendly for people with disability and the elderly. Showing the equipment inside, how it looks. Very briefly. All right, let me switch back. Yes, so that's an example of the solution that we came up with when we engage the user in the process. So we don't come up with platform that will not be used and will be abandoned in the end. So this is the benefit of engaging with the user in the development process. So I think that provide you an example of how we co-create and how we utilize digital tools that truly address the needs of the user. If you are interested to learn more, of course, we have limited time today, so I'd like to share a few resources. We have publication on the co-creation journey that we did concerning tourism for all. You can download it from the UNDP website. We also have the community-based tourism social innovation playbook, giving you some useful tools from social innovation to help strengthen your CBT, for example. And as the organizer mentioned, that there are also blog series that summarize our learning experience on sustainable tourism, mostly based in Thailand case, but also one that is connecting the Thailand experience with Bangladesh could be an interest to you to see how we transfer this experience. And of course, if you have questions or would like to connect and exchange more with me, I would be happy to. Please refer to the contact information on the screen. For today, I thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to exchanging more with you and learning more from this webinar as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wow, Kun Pattamon, thank you very much for this vivid and insightful presentation about the UNDP. I would use your short version of it, ACT-LAB, because I have problem pronouncing accelerators. Like how the UNDP's ACT-LAB is using the user-centered approach and the co-creation approach to give the purpose to technology, not to actually coming in and introducing the technology, but to actually find the purpose of particular technologies, as well as to empower local people to own the decision towards how to shape their hometowns for tourism, the way they want, the way that is good for them, basically. So after all, some like what we managed to catch as the key idea in your presentation is also that after all, it comes down to the frequently used apps, for example, in the case of Google Maps, like just to upload accessibility photos and videos. Sometimes, oftentimes it comes down to not the latest one, not the most avant-garde technology, but the easiest, usable, and the highly visible tech that is really makes the impact as well. I also would like to applaud the UNDP as well on the co-creation journey and the CBT Social Innovation Playbooks. Both of these publications is actually worth, studying further. Like I would like to also invite the audience as well to check that out. We're gonna put some of the links in the chat for you as well. So Kun Pattamon, just a one question for you. The question that we've got from listening to you as well, is it difficult in the process of finding out? I know that aside from the statistics studies that you have to do the research and the focus group discussion, is it actually difficult to bring together people from different sectors, from civil society, from private sector, from government sector, with the local community and diverse different group within the local community, like the disability group, the aging community group, the young people group? How do you, as a person managing diverse programs like this, come to a kind of a technique or a way to start talking about the problem and start to introduce the different solution related to tech to people on these issues?
Well, I would say it's trying to engage people that have aligned interests. That's always, I think this is the answer for this type of question regarding the topic that we're working on, because we actually work on multiple issues, not only tourism, but I think as long as you can align the interests of the stakeholder to show them that why are we coming together, like tourism for all. At first, it seemed like a very, very niche topic, right? We only talk about people with disability, but to show them that actually it is not. It will benefit so many groups of people, and it will benefit your sector. If you're the business sector, you need to do this because it is your market opportunity. It's not just wanting to do good. It is your market opportunity. If you missed it, you miss it for good. If you don't act now, it is too late. So that's how we engage with the stakeholder. We need to understand what is it important? How is this issue important for that particular stakeholder? If it's governmental agency, we might change the narrative, like how do this issue feed into the achievement of the sustainable development goals that the government has committed to the global community, things like that. With the local community, it has to be something about their livelihood, that by working on this, it will benefit their livelihood. So I think being able to see how the single issue benefit everyone is the key strategy that we are able to involve multiple stakeholders.
Thank you very much. That's quite clear, and it goes back to when you were also talking about the kind of long-term incentive that people would get, especially when it comes to local community. This is the time for you to get into the game as well. So thank you very much, Kun Pattamon, again for this very, very. One moment. I think I have another question that comes up to you, from the presentation. Sorry, I would like to read this one question for you. It's a question regarding the PWDs group. From Kun Ponpan Rop Klum. From the presentation, I assume that the digital tools is quite appropriate to physical PWDs. Are there any appropriate digital tools for other types of PWDs, such as blind ones or deaf ones?
Yes, definitely. Great question. When we talk about people with disability, it's very true that we often think of the physical disability. So talking about infrastructure a lot, but actually we have diverse type of people with disability, like the visually impaired, the deaf, and there are multiple tools that we can use. We haven't done this yet, but we actually talk about it in the reflection session after the work we have done last year. That actually with the blind, for example, there's a lot of communication innovation to be done in that regard. So we actually create like wooden models where the blind can touch and feel the shape of things that they cannot see, but also having the audio description could be something that is useful. So for example, if you have a community-based tourism that can make a narrative recorded upload on YouTube, for example, and then you create a QR code where the visitor can scan. You have to have a board where the blind can touch and then scan and then have the audio description. There could be something that very beneficial for visitor with visual impairment. So that's one example.
So thank you very much. So that wraps for the keynote speaker today, and thank you again, Kun Patamon, for like answering all the questions, and for the audience as well to pose the question in a very thought-provoking question like this one as well. So we're moving on right now to the next big session, the panel discussion. Kun Patamon will still stay with us until the end as well. So without further ado, for the next session on panel discussion, I would like to introduce you to experienced professionals from many countries who are joining our panel discussion today. So first is Assistant Professor Dr. Supicha Towiwit from Faculty of Architecture, Silpakorn University, Thailand. With the background in humanitarianism, she uses her expertise in participatory community design and development to co-create community-led city rehabilitation and urban design intervention. She has been working with several local communities in Bangkok, such as the Klong Bang Luang community, an old canal-sided settlement that houses Bangkok's renowned flowers market as well.
Second is Mr. Philip Kao, President of Siem Reap Tourism Club, Cambodia, with extensive professional experience in hotel hospitality and event management. Philip holds an executive MBA from Nanyang Technological University. He plays an important role in progressing sustainable and inclusive tourism scene in Siem Reap, one of Cambodia's prime heritage cities.
Thank you. And Mr. Philip Kao, if you might check the message directly from us in the chat box as well regarding the video. Next one is Professor Dr. Amran bin Hamza, the professor in tourism planning at the University of Technology Malaysia, or UTM, with over 40 years of teaching. He holds expertise in tourism policy planning. He has also led over 100 national consultancy projects, such as the recent Malaysia's National Eco-Tourism Plan and the present National Tourism Policy. In addition, he is a member of several international committees, such as UNWTO, UNESCO, UNDP, and the Ocean Panels. More recently, he was elected as the IUCN Regional Counselor until 2021. Professor Amran currently serves as a Regional Vice Chair for Southeast Asia for IUCN World Commission on Protected Areas, and has been involved in curating rural tourism clusters and corridors with the aid of digital technologies.
Well, next, we also have another well-known field researcher, Dr. Songpawam Singpanyang, Sustainable Tourism Development Consultant from Lao PDR, a medical doctor who also manages training programs in health promotion and rural development. Dr. Songpawam has worked for several nonprofit organizations, such as WHO, UNICEF, and UNDP, particularly Namdum Projects 1 and 2 for livelihood improvement and community development in Laos. His angle toward technology usage is focused on how it can increase grassroots communities to take lead in their own storytelling.
And some representative from the tech sector now, Ms. Sirada Pichaya Paiboon, a landscape architect who has worked in various cultural revitalization projects, both in Thailand and with international organizations. She co-founded The Roots, a cultural experience design studio dedicated to the creation of an online platform for sustainable tourism and cultural heritage preservation. The Roots aims to redefine the way in which people engages with cultural heritage. She believes that the cultural transformation of and the place-making design process can shape our society and strengthen shared intangible values through the experiences.
Well, last but not least, Mr. Pat Pataram Nupampon, a technologist at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, and a PhD candidate at MIT Media Lab. Kunpat explores human-AI interaction, human cognitive augmentation, synthetic virtual humans, and biology. He works with famous organizations such as NASA, NTT Data, IBM, Stanford, and Harvard on advancing the future of human-computer interaction. His research publication is recognized and cited worldwide. Although his profile is scarily serious, he loves to jump into any crazy opportunities to moonshot in innovative solutions to better the life like this time.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. So that will actually, since all of you are here, and we're gonna just start off with this four thematic rounds of questions. Like the first 3 questions, we're gonna start talking about how to overcome the challenge and the need for capacity buildings in our, particularly in ASEAN, in our region as well. So the first question that I might just ask Dr. Sompawan to start with is the first question on what are the digital literacy gaps and how can we ensure the equitable access to the digital tools among local communities? Dr. Sompawan, if you might want to address this particular challenges first. Please unmute first.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Okay. I'm very happy today to participate in the workshop with all of you because it's a very interesting topic. The key discussion from me today, or I am not sure my experience is to involve on of the objective or not. From my experience, I think allow the digital literacy gap is quite still have allowed because infrastructure gap between local community and the city is needed to improve. Particularly allow many people in the community have low knowledge in using technology skills. However, they have the technology from handphone, but they do not they do not access some people except the young generation in PDR. Particularly they use the digital to take the photo and send on the Facebook or the TikTok, something like that. However, we need to improve more because of in the past political is not strongly to support because of economic and the information allow they have they need the government support, and the government really did not strongly support because of fund. Maybe this is from my opinion, and I never work with the government, so difficult to say exactly. However, to do this, we need to give more support, but we need from outside, particularly UNDP or others agency tourism in Asia or in the region, how to make the network for supporting people in the local community to access on this. In my country, Laos, we have a lot of storytelling, but how can we support? In the past, if we access on this, people can know for example, the geography, the nature, culture, etc. So for this, maybe we need some fund or some organization to help us. In fact, really, I could not access at own information from the Ministry of Culture and Information in Laos. I just know some point that they help, they try to support, but very difficult maybe the situation of the government or the politics, that I'm not sure, but I try to say if we have, like in the past, I used to work with a UN agency like UNDP or UNICEF or WHO. If they get the support from outside, that work is quite run well. But when the program finished, everything come down. This is the problem of information in Laos. For example, recently, recently, the Thai tourists come. All the people around the world know Laos from, I think it's from Thai information, because of when I saw in the TV, Thai or Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, that they talk a lot of Lao and in also in English and Thai language. However, I'm very happy that because in my country is quite limited of this. Even I use my Facebook sometimes. I have to try to promote, but nobody to support. That is my keyword. We need more. How can we work together in the region or in the Asian country?
Okay. Yes.
I think many people know Lao is not from local community information, is from outside.
I see.
For example, the festival for the Hmong in the past, when I look at the local information or TV, but very rare and very few information. But when I look at outside, you see, from the particularly because of why I take the Thailand, because of Lao and Thai is quite similarly, like a culture, language, food,
Very
etc.
similar.
is quite similar.
Yeah.
So therefore, when we look at Thai channel, we found that information culture that's from the Thai, mostly is from Thai. So for example, like the festival Hmong New Year, this is really interesting. And we took a lot of the storytelling about Hmong culture or about other, because in Laos we have so many ethnic groups, like, but we have the three party of the group, like Lao Lum, Lao Thung, and Lao Sung. Lao Sung means the people who live on the mountain, and Lao Thung is in the middle land, like Kamu or others in the southern area and the north area.
Yeah.
However, in Lao Lum also have a lot of the story. For example, in Vang Vieng, in Vang Vieng we have a lot of nice nature, like river Nam Song, Nam Lik, and other mountain, and also like Mueang Phuong. Maybe I can show you later for the story.
Sure.
So could you please forward to the movie, short movie of the short slide of the
Professor, is it okay if, like, because like we also have 3 more people that would like to also answer and put in, because the focus could be on the challenges, but we will definitely relaying the video as a backdrop at a later time in this particular part.
Okay.
Yes. So I think like we already got like your very clear message as well on the, like, when we come to addressing the obstacles and the challenge towards the digital literacy. One of that, like especially in a country like Laos, is the lack of infrastructure to the use of digital technologies in overall, and the political and social limitation towards the storytellings of the community, for example, in the case of Hmong as well. So I wonder if there are like other aspect of the limitation or the digital literacy gaps that we could actually map out as well in other parts of ASEAN. Like, can I give the floor to Kun Sirada for a bit
Okay.
on her insight? Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Sarah from the Roots, and basically some short introduction about the Roots. We're developing the digital travel companion, and because we see tourism can be as a tool for cultural heritage preservation. So now we're having the online self-guided tour that we developed, and just this for learning for users to learn the local stories behind the places, right? And also gives a chance for the users to learn cultural heritage in a fun way. Yeah, and this is like a tool to encourage travelers to experience on-site experiences as well. And just to for us to redefine cultural heritage and also bridging the gap between tourists and locals. But in terms of like bridging between, both ends, of course, tourists, they're familiar with like social media and digital technology already, of course. But on the other hand, for local communities, they're still, especially with the local like cultural barriers, especially they're like old generation. And it's quite challenging for them to use the new technology that young generation use. So from our field research with the communities, we found this very difficult for them. And since we want to stimulate local economies as well, and introducing gamification and social media engagement into our tool. For example, what we launched during Bangkok Design Week 2024, we have the campaign that the users or travelers can use our social media Instagram account and upload it. And then with this Instagram account, they can also show this to the local partners, our local partners. But then when we tried during the prototyping, we found the problem that most of the local shops owners, they're all like quite old and they don't know how to use Instagram or other application. So then we need to come back and revise our strategy again. So in the end, it's like the most simplest solution that we found, that just use Line or some application that they're really familiar with already. That's the lesson learned for us, that which according to Kun Patamon as well, that we should use some really minimal and like simple solution for that. And from that, they can take picture and send us to Line application, and then the users can get rewards, and then it's the validation from the local communities or something like that.
So like the suitable technology, not like any technology,
No.
to be generation sensitive in a way as well, to be more like, I wouldn't say like because of the different age gaps and all, because like sometimes like, I mean, some people in my generation still don't use IG, which is really interesting to know. But I think it's also because of the preference and the way, like the need that you have towards the different kinds of social medias as well. And can I also hear some of the aspect as well from Cambodia with Mr. Philip? If Mr. Philip can take the floor just to shed us some light on like some of the outstanding like technological limitations issues that you have encountered working at a city level in a very well-known place like Siem Reap.
Well, thank you for giving us the floor, and happy to be here to share a bit of the challenges about technology literacy in Siem Reap and Cambodia. I mean, as a brief about Siem Reap Tourism Club, we have been working together with the provincial authority as our focus. Definitely, we also work with the National Tourism Authority, like Ministry of Tourism, but our focus is to really scope it down to the provincial levels. So we have been working together with the provincial authority even before the COVID, and we have understands that the impact of the COVID-19 show us some of the opportunity where we can lay down the platform, bring everyone together from a different tourism stakeholders, regardless association, NGO, or the provincial authorities. So this is where we are trying to be as a mediators to make everyone together. So again, our ultimate objective is to really be able to ensure that sustainable tourism for Siem Reap will be as a benefit for the local communities, and definitely any of other tool that we need to use. Basically now the update, the trend one is technologies. That's why we are moving to this so-called digital tourism platform. Hopefully that will become a platform for everyone, stakeholders, individual companies, community-based tourism will be all together in our platform and become, the only platform that the tourists would like to go and find out what are the attractiveness, what are the things that they can visit, they can see. So these are what we are trying to do. Definitely the challenge that we are overcome and we are trying not to make it true is going to be some things that we have to be able to have, not just to really make sure that our community-based tourism will be able to understand, to have a knowledge, to have a skill, to be able to use that technology to promote, to upload their product in our platform, but also to be able to train them to really understand what kind of experience, what kind of product developments, and they can use that such a thing in order to be uploaded to our platform. So that's one of the challenges that we have, that we are trying to address by bringing them up and train them and trying to guide them what needs to be done in order for them to really upload their product into our digital platform. Not only that, as a challenge, even though the tools at the base, the local community base, they are not being able to compatible to what we are trying to really, let them use. So again, it's not about knowledge, but it's also about the tool that we are trying to have them up in order for them to be able to, incompatible with us. So these are the challenges at the ground levels, from actually the knowledge, the skill, but then also the resource, the tool, and all this kind of thing. So we try not to really push that. Now, community tourism base is very so-called, we all know, is very so-called a little bit isolated from, the locals, or maybe the community that is having knowledge, skill about tourism. They are quite very distant from what we can help them. But because this is our objective, that we're trying to bring them to our platform, we're trying to let them become a beneficiary of the tourism arrival to Siem Reap. So we have no excuse have to go down and helping them. So this is one of our objectives. And again, not just a community base here, but then the individuals, businesses, as that is not formalized, they don't have the capability, to come up to the platform. They don't have the capability to reuse that such technologies and all this kind of thing. So we are gathering them together to be in our platform, legitimate them as our member, and then we hope we're going to propose a training program, the capacity developments on the digital literacies, and also trying to have them on to get the tools so that they are able to be connected with us, and hopefully one day they will be theirs and they will be benefit from what we are trying to build for them.
Wow, thank you. Very precise and also like forward-looking in a way, like how to really solve problem from your end as well. So we have heard from the users, the mediators in using this as well. We might want to hear a little bit from the side of the creator. So Kun Pat, as a person involving in developing so many cutting-edge technology as well, what do you still see as a kind of the lack of technologically literacy, and what would we need to fill the gaps in the future?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So a little bit of context. So I'm from MIT, and we have been working on many technologies that have sort of transformed the world. But one of the, I think, key idea here is that we want to create tools that empower other people to create more tools, right? On the left here, this is a paper that we have published based on our study of can we empower kids to be the creator of technology like AI, for example? I think in today's society, there's a lot of conversation about AI and how it's going to transform almost everything, right? So the work that we have shown here is that we can bring in local context. Like in this case, this project was actually done in Thailand, where we try to teach high school students in Thailand to be able to make AI to help identify agricultural product, which is connect to local community and local challenge as well. So based on this, we think that in order to help people become the technology or developer of the future, we definitely need to create a toolkit that allow people to be able to explore the 3C of AI literacy for the future. So on the left side here, you see the three circle: computation, creativity, and criticism. We need people to be able to understand advancement in technology on the computation side, and be able to utilize them. And then be able to use them creatively, apply that to their local context, whether it's tourism or other context that is beneficial for their environment and community. I think it's really important. And the creativity is the key idea here. And finally, not all technology are good, right? We need to also, encourage people to be critical and have ability to critique and understand in what context does the technology help you reach sort of higher potential, and in what case it's become a limitation itself, right? So I think these three areas are very important: computation, creativity, and criticism. I think this is the framework that we can use for AI literacy for the future. And of course, right now, we see the future is like advancing so much very quickly. Joey Ito, the director of the Media Lab, said that, we are in the future that is like getting faster and faster every day. It's also very important to sort of step back and look at what is the goal of that technology deployment, right? And be able to sort of reflect on that. At the end, it's the human that take the control and need to make the important choice on how we deploy this technology for the future. So I hope that this framework, the AI literacy for the future, could help we start to think a little bit about how do we integrate AI and other form of technological literacy for the context of sustainable tourism. And I love what Dr. Pattamon said earlier about the co-creation, right? I think all these projects that we have done and this framework that we talk about was created based on that. So I hope that we can also apply this and modify it for the local context as well.
Wow, thank you very much, Kun Pat. I think like you end this actually we designed the first question to be a little bit hopeless, but you make it very hopeful at the end of it, and you actually open a new kind of lay the path for the second question that we have as well. Like, as from the creator's point of view, we see that the three needs that are like the fundamental needs in creating the kind of society that would be ready for the kind of co-creation and the solution making would actually help in building from the people capacity onward. But what is the strategy to tackle this particular lack and to build this kind of mindset and the manpower from the side of criticism and creativity especially? So I would like to invite Dr. Amran and Kun Philip to also have a kind of another perspective of looking from the national and city point of view towards the kind of how you put this kind of framework that Kun Pat has kind of simplified it into the way like computation, creativity, and criticism into a national strategy in a way that would tackle the lack of digital and entrepreneurial skill, like not only for the AI, but for different kinds of technology in some of the tourism communities. So what would you suggest as the strategies to do so? So can I start with Dr. Amran and then Kun Philip later on, please?
Thank you, and thank you for having me. Can I have my several slides? So, okay, I was very privileged because I was the lead consultant for formulating the Malaysia's national tourism policy, and the work started a straddle across even COVID. And one of the weaknesses of our industry at that time was the lack of effort in trying to embrace digitalization. So in a nutshell, I'm just going to show you what are the 6 transformative strategies that we recommended. And you can see that on the right. And that is the goal, to transform Malaysia's tourism industry, focusing on public-private sector partnerships, but also to embrace digitalization to drive innovation. And we were worried at that time that of the 6 transformative strategies, the number 3, which is moving towards tourism 4.0 or smart tourism, would be the most challenging, because the industry players at that time, they even some very traditional in the business models, and of course the computer literacy was very low. We thought that this is going to be the most challenging, but if there is one thing that positive that came out of COVID, it was the realization that if you don't embrace technology, you will be left behind or you will be left dead. So we were pleasantly surprised when, because of COVID, many of the operators, many of the local community, CBT, they had to learn, they had to master some kind of digital tools for them to develop digital tours, for them to get some form of income during the pandemic. Next, please. So this is what the National Tourism Policy tries to provide as a strategic direction. So in terms of consolidating tourism digitalization, is to embark on a comprehensive digitalization journey. So this includes not only the using digital tools, digital promotion, but the trying to embrace a whole spectrum of digitalization. You can see that rationale. This covers areas like the performing rigorous data analytics to understand tourism futures, and then also to be able to be connected to the globally. So this forms the one of the strategic direction in the National Tourism Policy. And then if you look at how this specific strategy was then cascaded down to the various state level or destination level implementation, this is what was done, what is being done by Malaysia's Digital Economy Cooperation, MDEC. So for the National Tourism Policy on digitalization, they have broken it down to smart inspiration using of digital technologies and connected travel using big data analytics and immersive travel. This is where there are already digital labs, digital, what do you call this? The business, small grassroots teaching programs to be able to use AV, VR, and so on. And finally is how do you then try also to use this in the context of heritage. But if you look at the challenges, when we started the National Tourism Policy, we were aware that it is not going to be easy because of these challenges. I'm not going to read through, but you can see that silo mentality, low digital literacy, and limited use of digital technology. So this is what we are trying to overcome over the past 5 years now, since the policy was launched. Next, is there any more on this? Yeah, I think I'll stop there. Thank you.
That's very, very clear. I mean, like in terms of the diagrams and everything as well, that how the national policy is shaping in a way that would help like tackling this particular kind of the lacking problems that we have in, I would say, not only Malaysia, in majority of our ASEAN communities as well. So we can scope down to the city level from here as well with Kun Philip, Mr. Philip Kao from the Siem Reap Tourism Club. If you might want to take the floor and also shed some of your insights on some suggested strategy to tackle the lack of digital and entrepreneurial skills.
Well, thank you very much for the floors, and I think as business or part of non-governmental organizations or like us, we have to move the same directions as what the government actually is moving in order to take benefit or to join to make the effective results towards, if we have the same goal for the sustainability and the harmonious living for the people. So I think after COVID, Commonwealth government have actually strongly focused on e-governments, and they have launched several success e-tools for banking industry, and also for some of the industry like the Ministry of Economics and the taxation departments. They have launched this digitalization from their departments. I mean, Siem Reap was a bit lucky that has been picked to really implement the smart city program, which under the survey and the implementation of the JICA project. So because we were one of the very strategic partner with the provincial authority. So we were called and then appointed, to be part of this project. And we proposed them to, one of the project out of the other 6 project is smart tourism. So because of this alignments of, how they believe, as we all know, Siem Reap depends so much on tourism as of now, so smart tourism is important that we have to look into, and then we have to be able to relaunch this project. So we were lucky at that moment. Then we were called, and we are appointed to be the implementers of this smart city smart tourism project, which under the smart city implementation, which undertaken by the Siem Reap Provincial Authority and also by JICA as an advisors and technical assistance towards the implementation. So this is important. As we all know, technology moving very fast. Of course, we all try to adapt to that. But I think as when we launch any project, the lack of resource are still very, very difficult to be able to really come up and to implement it. So for us, we want to launch the project, yet we don't have a resource there. So we are actually open door for many other social development sectors to come in and then provide us some of, maybe advisory, maybe some consultant, or maybe some of maybe the capacity development on this digitalization as well. So as of now, we're trying to work on many angles, also to incubate the student to be able to, equip with that such skill and knowledge, so that, in the future, we will have resource at our location. So if there's anything that we wanted to, like, for the innovations and the creativity of this kind of digital platform, we have the team, we have the people at our area, so that will be easy to really implement it. So our strategy is quite, straightforward, where we can see what the national authority, strategy on this digitalization from the government point of view, from the provincial point of view. Then we were lucky to take on it. And right now we are on the soft launch. We were on the soft launch on the 26th of January about our apps, Siem Reap Wonder platform. So hopefully we will be able to complete it by 2024. Then this will be one of the fantastic app and also the website for tourism, yet also for the community.
Wow, thank you very much. So so I think like that also leads us to like after like your very vivid examples and everything, that leads us to the last question under the themes of like, the capacity building needs and the challenges as well, which is.
Well, thank you for all the panelists for letting us explore topics related about digital literacy gap and how to address equitable access to different digital tools among different local communities, in a very interesting case sharing. Well, like, I believe that we all agree that cooperation is essential.
Yeah.
Like we always said, like when you work alone, you can work very fast, but you can only work far when you work together.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, but as we all know, like when you stand at the different positions, we'll have different purpose and different goals.
Yeah.
So how can we promote corporations while taking care of the needs, or I mean, most of the perspectives needs, like from among different parties, for example, like between the public and the private sectors and NGOs and academia to support our local initiatives in the digital world.
Yeah, we might just want to go to hear like some of the perspective from the academia turn like field workers person, which is Dr. Supicha from the Silpakorn University as well. So if Dr. Supicha might want to give us some opinions on that.
Yes, I'm a full-time lecturer at the Faculty of Architecture, Silpakorn University, and I'm gonna sort of like a quick sharing about like a small project that we did, and like me
So
when
beautiful.
I say we, I mean my student, my colleagues, and myself, and we work with the local community, which is called Pak Klong Talat, or the Bangkok Flower Market, which is like 20 minutes walking from our university. And I think the role of academia is something very interesting. Like for me, I think it's such a great opportunities for us also to learn from this kind of project-based learning. And because we all know that the change is coming, university cannot change exactly the same that we have been teaching for the last 100 years or something. So this site, this Bangkok Flower Market, which is just like our neighbor. So we have been working with them since like 2016, where the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration launched a program called Street Vendor Displacement Program. So before 2016, it looked like a kind of old-fashioned wholesale market, which is situated in the very inner center of Bangkok, like next to the Grand Palace, next to the old district area, which is, I mean, you can have a lot of questions about the logistic wise, like whether this is going to be the future of the wholesale. I mean, wholesale, now you can, you know, like have a separate, like a market in a suburban area of Bangkok. So we as an academia kind of like jump in, and because during the time, there's a lot of confusion about whether they want to stay here and how can they adapt, but because they are the local vendors, so they don't, how to say, they find it's pretty difficult to talk to the local authority. But us as an academia, as someone from, you know, university, we find like a neutral crowd. So we create like a Facebook page called Human of Flower Market. So we took like a photograph and asking like an interview about to see the relationship between the street vendors and also the like a shop owner, because most of the time we would think that they are the enemy. But once we do that photo essay and put it on the Facebook, it's actually show the difference. Like they are actually selling things that complementary to each other, something like that. And so since then, because after the eviction of the street vendors, the market went pretty badly, like business wise, yeah, and because of the COVID as well. So so nowadays, after 8 years of be working with them, I think we could say that after 6 or 7 or 8 years, we kind of succeed a little bit of trying to be like enabler or a catalyst to make change. That like nowadays, if you go there from old-fashioned kind of wholesale flower market, now it become like a more like a very fashionable in a way, but at the same, Instagrammable, of course, but in a very sustainable way, that there's a lot of new customer that's coming. So next slide, please. So the photo on the left is all the project that we did with the local vendors, and of course we started with, you know, just like a very simple Facebook page called Human of Flower Market, where we're telling the story in a different tone, because the local vendor from the flower market, they're famous for like having a very fierce and angriness, and you know, like which is sometimes very hard to listen to. So we try to like pastel that tone a little bit, and just to get people to listen to the accent of what they want to say, is that they actually related to all the informal economy around the area, and they actually the one who help catalyze the business in the district. And even in Bangkok, there's like a billions of baht that, you know, circulate around the market. So we started something very analog, like photo exhibition, art installation. And I think as a role as academia, we gain trust from the local vendors, because we're not, you know, taking side of any capitalist or any investor. And we are such a perfect body to talk to the governmental organization, because, you know, I'm a professor and this and that, so I can pretend to be serious and pretend to be, you know, like, oh, knowledgeable. But I think our role can be such like a great platform for everyone can come to the same table. And so later on, after we did a lot of like AR, like an immersive experience, like using a lot of digital tools. One of the reasons that we use digital tool is because we don't have so much budget actually, and also we don't have capacity because we want to have the flower festival, right? But we as an academic, I study architecture. I'm so bad at doing flower arrangement. I don't have that capacity. So if we do some like fresh flower, that would be horrible. It would take me 100 years to do something beautiful. So that's why we use technology. And I invite some young designer to use flower as an inspiration for that, to use like an Instagram filter, or sometimes they do some interactive, which I will telling you later in the next question. So I think, and another thing is that we don't want to have fresh flower as a waste after the festival. So we use technology because it's practical. It can create the flower experience like beyond imagination, and at the same time, I don't want to use like that flower for free, you know, like you spend like hundreds of thousands of baht of flower, and people can come there and taking a photo. But we would like to use technology to move them to a new kind of imagination that flower can mean so many other things, and we kind of succeed to bringing like a new customer. So nowadays, if you go to the flower market, there would be like the majority of the younger generation, and also not only the younger generation that came, but also someone very, very, very young, like, you know, primary school when we did the Bangkok Design Week and in the Bangkok Flower Market. So the kids see something on TikTok or something in a Line group or Instagram, and they ask their parents to come to join the Bangkok Flower Market because there's some like gamification that we try to use. So in a way, this kind of new technique and digital work, it's actually make all the connection and make it a bit more inclusive in a way. And we actually didn't really expect that. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I just went this flower markets during the past few weekends.
I know.
Yes, because I'm a foreigner. Like, I feel like this place is a very good start point for me to explore the local lifestyle and the local market. And to be honest, why I decide to go to this place is someday when I looking at my Instagram, I saw the related hashtag.
Oh,
Yes.
for this one.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like, oh my God, it's so pretty. And there are a lot of floral theme related cafe and their dishes. Well, that's why I want to try. So I think it is pretty, well, I think for me, it is workful.
Yeah.
And next, may I invite Dr. Amram
Yes.
to,
Since we see from the actually like action-oriented person now, like at the very policy-related like action plan level as well. If Dr. Amran would like to jump into this conversation on the collaboration, please.
Yes, thank you. Can I have my slide again, or?
Yes, coming up.
Thank you. So my task these days is how do I try to cascade, national policies down to the destination level, community level, and this is the challenge because we have beautiful policies, but let's take this one. So in 2016, the Malaysian Digital Economy Corporation came up with a program, the pilot project. It was very ambitious, trying to onboard 10,000 accommodation owners, providers all over the country. And it will be harsh for me to say it failed because at that time, the level of, understanding of what local operators need was not that, it was quite low. But the failure happened because when you introduce technology suddenly, and the recipients are not aware, are not ready, then you create this, mismatch. So it just proves that when I'm saying in my last word that digitalization is not a silver bullet, especially in the context of rural tourism. So having learned that lesson, next please. Now we are trying, I'm working with the various government agencies, NGOs, local communities. We identify first, who could be the partners for this sharing economy at the rural tourism level. And you take away the service apartments, we have got the homestays, which are illegals because they have not been registered. You have Chinese new villagers. They're all very distinct in their what they are in their offerings. But are they ready to receive tourists? Are they ready to manage tourism? Some are and some are not. So that is what we are trying to do, is to address the capacity gaps and then introduce the use of technology, not at the start, but when they are ready. So they're another layer. So this is what we learned from the pilot project. And Tourism 4.0 is not about just onboarding rural operators. And it requires a very dedicated approach. And in many of the areas that we are working on, so we try to curate unique, vibrant experiences, and we develop them For example, here, this is one cluster. Desaru is in the southern area of Malaysia. It has a very high-end area where you have Anantara and so on. But surrounding it, there are so many in the hinterland, rural, heritage, tourism experiences, riverine. So this has never been really inventorized. And when tourists, stay at the resorts, they want something else. So we are trying to do this. And while once we are ready, when curate these experiences, adding this content to the clusters, only then we add in the digital, the smart tourism, and a command center is something that would be required, a digital command center, so that we can really monitor, plan, and so on. So it has to be spearheaded also by an accelerator, someone with really skills in smart tourism. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Amran. So that's from the national point of view again. And Kun Philip, would you like to close it with some of your city level projects that you're having right now?
Well, thank you very much. I agreed with Dr. Amran very much that the accelerators are someone is important to really bring everyone to bridging everyone together. And we all actually wanted, we all talk about sustainable tourism or sustainable destination or sustainable living. It's a big buzzword for all of us to really already claim for that. But what are the sustainable, so-called factors that we have to look into, are actually the stakeholders who are the community that living there, for us, as I said again, because we focus on Siem Reap provincial area. So we have to look, in every angle, who are the players, who are the participation, who are going to join hands together in order to ensure that this sort of, digital tourism platform will be able to become one of the platforms for everyone, not just from us who are the creator, who are the implementer, but it's for everyone to use it from a user point of view, a stakeholder point of view, and also from the tourist point of view. So everyone will benefit from that such so-called joint hands to make sure that this platform created but also utilize it. So these are the important stakeholders that we need to work together. As you know, the authority have their own agenda who trying to do their own things, but have private sectors or the social development sector, they have also their own agenda to do something. Of course, everyone have the same objective, that trying to contribute to the sustained developments of sustained economic developments, or to improve the livelihood of the community or the provincial or the geographic area where they are at. But again, that never been harmonized, never been synchronized. So for us, we have a duty, try to be, as I said again, a mediators, or maybe try to bring people together onto our platform. Yes, as a product and a service of tourism will be in our platform, but as a participation, contributions, they all should come together, take part on this sort of ongoing development. Hopefully, their policy will be enabled for us. For example, if we have to access to the CBT levels, we need authority to allow us to go there, because we can't just go in some of perhaps private sectors or the social development sector, just go there without the help of the authority. So the participation rate will not be that strong. So this is where we needed each other from the authorities, from also the social development sector, and from perhaps the private sector to come together, and hopefully that will make it work. So that's why this project, we are under the making, but hopefully it's going to be the great one. I will share you more story when it becomes the great success platform in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Very true is that. Thank you very much. And that actually give us a very good ending to the first theme on the addressing the capacity, and that at the end how important it is when people have a different expertise, so to say, different interests and different incentives, and how we can bring them together for such different ways of collaboration. And one of the way that you have chosen to do is using some sort of the technological tools as well as one of the means to bring people together. So that actually leads us to the second thematic rounds of questions, which is on the digital platforms for community engagement. What kind of platform do we have to, what kind of space or platform or chances that we need to provide in a way. So the first one would actually looking into the social media platform, which is something very accessible by the majority of people in the world. Can I put this question like for some of the insightful examples to Dr. Sompawan, please, on how can social media platform like what we are usually using help promoting the community-driven tourism initiative that you're doing right now? If you can unmute, please.
Okay. Just could you please come to my slide for Amazing Namlik?
Yes, it's coming up. One moment.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. The media platform that can help the promoting the community. As you see on the screen now, when the picture or the information show on the media in some suggestion to talk about area of tourist Ilau. So that is make people know about where is the place of can we visit or can be tourist. So however, when you look at the media platform that it can make and help people to know everywhere like Ilau. Can you go to the second things slide? Okay. No, the picture. Okay. For example, here it's quite well known, and people know a lot of Mueang Phuong, where is the river Nam Lik, that people know by using the media and can help people. But that is not for the community, but it's a private company. They use the media how to promote and how to inform people to come to this area. Please directly go to my slide, my film, Vang Vieng. I will show you some example of the, yeah.
I think there's a technical loading problem, but
some
so
example.
this,
Yeah, here is some example in Vang Vieng, the digital platform for the community engaged. This company, they try to promote area of tourist Ilau, of tourism Ilau. They show about the mountain, the with the nice nature and the top and the local people where it can be visit, like this JJ Adventure Alive web that they try to promote Vang Vieng, where and how to use. This is correct. It's very correct that digital platform can help community to engage, make people to know and aware.
yes.
Yeah, that's
Well, that's such a beautiful
suggestion.
example as
Yes.
well. And I know that Namlik area, like from what we talked to you previously, is not like really a place accessible by tourism by tourists as much if you don't have like the local people. And this is one of the good way to actually, you know, show the kind of like unseen Lao place that you have, and then more and more people goes there, and it actually help creating the new economy there as well. So that's such a very good example. Thank you very much, Professor Sompawan. So from that particular example, you see the kind of the social media usage from the side of Lao to help promoting this community-based, community-led tourism initiative as well. So just to ask further to Kun Sirada and Dr. Amran from here, like how can we leverage, aside from the social media platform, other online forums or online communities that are like one of the viewers or one of the audiences of this kind of the kind of media that Dr. Sompawan is showing, to give more, not only just to empower the local community economically, but to give them more decision-making power when normally you would have like some people who are the middleman who would decide what is beautiful, what is good to show. But how can we use the online communities to give more decision making power of what to show to the world by the grassroots locals? So Bob, maybe we start with Kun Sirada first.
Okay, thank you for this session. So for the roots, how we work, we started basically we have online and offline products, right? So our principle in storytelling, because basically we're the connector, mediator to bridging the gaps between both ends. Our principle is like to give local spotlight, not us, because we're not, the person who live in the neighborhoods or the community, and we don't know, as good as people who live there. So basically we let the locals express their point of view with their experience and their communities, and we match, could you please go to the next slide, pictures? We match with traveler needs. So for the online first, we did many field research as well by co-creating the experiences with locals as part of the tour. For example, in the picture that you see, it's the area of Thonburi. Most of the focus area that we focus is in Thonburi Sad on the west bank of Chao Phraya River, where, for example, here is the family where they live in the area called Dom Thong. In the past was famous for agricultural activities, especially lychee plantations and coconut plantations. But because of urban sprout and gentrification, this family is trying to protect their ancestor land and protect their Oshadist way of life, which is different from the way of life of Bangkokian people, which come from the landscape typography. So yeah, we talked to them, and then she tells, and her son tells all the stories to us, how they fight against, the change, the transformation, and how they survive and come up with the project. And nowadays a successful like restaurant and cafe and can sustain themselves and they are like a pilot project for the communities around there too. So the next pictures. Yes. So here is like our example, another example as well from Wayubut Puppeteers group. They're the youth group who practice and trying to preserve Thai traditional performance. So what we bring is like we trying to encourage people to go through it and engage with the local communities on the first hand. And when we interviewing them on the research stage, we're trying to dig deep into like the intangible value. What do they proud of and what are their stories, especially the personal point of view. And then we come up with like the activities co-creating with them that can emphasize their stories and that can make travelers feel eager to learn more, as well as allows visitors or travelers encounter with locals, like workshop that facilitated by the local communities or the locals themselves, and as well as in-depth conversation with locals through their own perspectives. So that's that comes from the offline thing. We also introducing in the online part by using this digital tool to spread the stories out to a bigger audience. Apart from our guided tour route, we also co-create the route in a digital platform with locals on what they want to tell the story. For example, now we're also developing the stories of like many temples in Bangkok by using the story from the monks themselves who tell the stories. And we also introduce these interviewing and also their audio voice into our multimedia elements on our self-guided. And because this will be the method to let them tell their story in their own voice on our online tool. And this is not only like the voice or the story, but also the heritage documentation as well from our side. Something like this, huh?
Thank you very much. So Dr. Amran, if you also would like to add on the leveraging the online platform, please.
Okay. Thank you. I would like to share the work which I've been doing with one community-based tourism.
Just one moment. I
Slide.
think the slide is coming up.
Okay. So I've
Okay,
been
you
working
can,
with them.
you can start first.
Yeah.
Yes.
For the past 15 years. So this is, I'll give you the context of this community-based tourism before I focus on the digitalization. So please bear with me. Again, when I said earlier that I'm trying to cascade the top level policy, national policy down to the CBT level, we are working with this homestay called Misowalai Homestay. It is a success story. It was given the UNWTO Best Tourism Village, but it is not a beautiful village. It's not a picturesque village, but it is using tourism as a driver. But now, for the past few years, they are also trying to embrace digitalization, especially in the context of regenerative tourism post-COVID. Next, please. So just quickly, they are in Sabah, Malaysia, up along the longest river in the Kinabatangan. Next, please. And why they are so important is because it is located along the very iconic biodiversity hotspot. We have orangutans, proboscis monkeys, and mammals, and elephants. Next, please. And it's a very resilient community. They suffered poverty until they started tourism or community-based tourism in 1996, and they spent many years trying to develop capacity. And their focus is on synergy between conservation and tourism, especially through community reforestation. Next. So what they have done since 1996 is to focus on community reforestation, because the whole riparian reserve has been locked over by the government, and they are replanting with donors, and they have planted up to 400,000 species of different species. Very important. They don't focus on monocrop. And before COVID, their income from conservation projects was about 20%, but during COVID, it went up to 30%, and that helped cushion the impact of COVID. This is what they do. It's very systematic for tourists to be involved, and also the local housewives. But more importantly is, next, they found a way of trying to increase income without really having to acquire or attract more donors, because during COVID, they wrote to donors and they were given lots of saplings, seedlings, until they ran out of space. No more space for them, to plant the trees. So through a company, through Cardiff University project in Sabah, they partnered this company called EcoMatcher in the US, and this is a platform that allows you participants to adopt, to take care, to care for tree saplings until they are 3 years old. And this is using the Internet of Things, IoT. I'm not an expert, but I'm learning from them. So what participants do, they can go onto this platform, and you can pay to adopt trees. You can see how the tree has grown. But most importantly is that they can also see how much carbon the trees that you adopted is being sequestrated. And this is along the way to meet the agenda of reducing climate change through mitigation and adaptation. So what it has done really is to increase the income stream of the already successful homestay without more additional physical activity. But along the way also there was some problem with the unfair, what is perceived as unfair distribution of income. But that's not the end of story, meaning that they have stopped this partnership, but they are working on 3 new things. Next, please. And this is where the offspring, when the pioneer leaders of this CBT, they didn't have much formal education. They only went to school up to primary 6, but the offspring they send them to study conservation, resource management, and they're coming back to serve the community. And they are very technology savvy. And many of them now are mastering the skills of measuring carbon being sequestrated. And what they are doing now is to use this carbon sequestration as the new metric to monitor the success of the homestay. And before this, they were using aerial photographs to show trees before and after. But now they can show, for example, this is, they used this before. This was the state of the environment along the river before reforestation, and then it's full covered way back in 2010. It recreates wildlife habitat, wildlife tourism thrives, so income increases. But now this is they have trying to add in another metric, which is how much carbon is being sequestrated to meet the climate change agenda. I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Wow. I think you just, like, this is like a very, like, it could be made into a movie in a way as well, like from the whole thing, like how the community is actually, like, you know, expanding from their own initiative, and then you have the private sector coming in. At first it looks like a very good partnership, and then they start to know, like, okay, this is not really as rosy as it looks, and they fight back with, like, you know, empowering themselves, educating themselves. The next generation takes over as well. I think Dr. Amranyu, you kind of like answer two questions, two thematic questions at the same time, which is great, like for the time-saving purpose, which we will run on like this as well. Since we're talking about some of the successful use of digital tools for engaging community in a way, I would also give the floor further for Dr. Supisha to also talk about some of the examples that she has. And Dr. Supisha, you can also run on to talk about the use of the virtual reality and augmented reality that you might be using in your project at the same time as well. So please.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
So yeah, first. So this is so in 2017, my team and I did a website called flowerhub.space, and I think community engagement is so important, like we all know. But for me, it was the most difficult part. I mean, you thought you have such a good intention, you thought you have such a great program, you thought you have such a great, you know, technology, but when you go to the local and they were not interested. And it's so, you know, it's so simple as that. So in 2017, we did this project, and I would say that it was really, really difficult for us, because when, like, it's crazy. 7 years ago, if you buy flower, I would say like 3% would think about online channel, because it's like in 2017, they still like doing the wholesale. You have to go to the market and then you do the bargaining and stuff like that. So in 2017, when we did this flowerhub.space, if we walk like 100 shops, there would be less than 10 shops who are willing to give us the information. So at the beginning, we struggled a lot, because I mean, we thought we had such a good idea, but then if the local were not interested, and I think it's my fault that I wouldn't be able to show them or present them how important it is that online would be such a, you know, such an important factor in the future. But somehow in 2019, as we know, the COVID-19 hit us really, really bad. And I just remember when we did this website, we had to knock on every door, right? And try to ask them, like, can you give us some information about this and that? And we actually have a Google form, yes, and our team uses a Google form. And the local vendor would say, oh, we were not educated. We really want to help, but we don't want to give you information because we don't know how to fill the form. So everything is very analog. But during the COVID time, because there's no other way, so I got a lot of inbox in my Facebook page, yeah, and saying that we would like to be on the online platform, and it's actually sent from a lot of local shop. And I was like, oh, but we could not do, you know, interview you by person. How could we do this? And then I just sent them the Google form link. But surprisingly, actually, they could do it. I mean, they just pretend to be like not able to, but basically because they were not interested. And I found that very interesting. They even like managed to take all the photo by themselves and put it on the website, and they can also fill the GPS, you know, to know where the location is. And because of our website, we have like a little chatbot where where if you type jasmine or sunflower, the AI will just like calculate it and like randomly send you the contact, send you the name of the shop, send you the GPS of the shop that you can yeah, like connect to the vendors and buy your flowers. So, and what I found interesting about flower market is that it cannot be so high technology in the sense that if you go to Grab Food, right, you can choose the food and you can order it. Everything will be done. You don't have to talk to the local shop at all. But for the Bangkok flower market, it's a bit different. So even nowadays, I would say before COVID, less than 20% of the order coming from online. But after COVID or today, I would say more than 80% of the order coming from Line. And I don't know why, but Thai people use Line a lot. If you look at the photo here in the middle of at the bottom, like every morning I open my phone, there would be a line sending from the flower shop, like, oh, what kind of flower we have today? And it's automatically actually. At the beginning, it's pretty analog, right? They like taking a very bad photo and send it to me. But now it's very organized. Like, but when you buy flowers, because of the product itself, the price is very changing rapidly. Like in the morning, it will be one price, and then at night it will be another price, right? So you still have to talk to the local shop owner, like, and I would have to like screen capture and ask them like, oh, do you have tulip? How much is it? And in the morning and in the evening will be maybe a different price, right? And then we will call Grab, yeah, and then Grab will deliver it for us. And I would say that in the past 5 years, digital tools has been like changing and transforming the local shop a lot. And I would say that you can move to the next slide. Yeah, I will just talk about the AR that we're using. So because our initiative is just trying to, I mean, I myself don't know how to move the Bangkok flower market to the future, but we just know that we need to explore new opportunities. So we're working with the very talented designer called 27 June Studio, where they did an amazing immersive and AR art installation with us. So so let's say that the younger generation are interested in this kind of media, right? So they came to the flower market, and I just remember that last year when we organized this festival for the Bangkok Design Week, and because the local shop didn't prepare to this kind of new group of customers, so they're still selling the wholesale flower. So even though last year festival seems to be very successful in terms of the number of the visitor, I still got complaint from the online questionnaire that I asked them, like, what do they think about the this year festival? And then they would say, oh, they were pretty crowded, but we were so exhausted. They were not happy that, you know, new generation came. But through the viral on TikTok and Instagram and many other social media, the kids keeps coming. And now it totally changed the mindset of the local vendors. I myself cannot convince them. I cannot knock on every door like, you know, the new generation is your new customer. I cannot do that. But they just see that last year, because they didn't prepare for the new customer, so they couldn't sell anything. But the shop who could adapt it sell a lot. So this year we just organized this festival in February last month, and it was like chaotic because everyone now know that if you sell the whole bunch for 150 baht, no one will buy it. But if you sell one for 50 baht, a lot of teenagers would buy it. Yeah. So because of this new group of customer that came from the viral Instagram or TikTok, and it somehow changed the way we perceive, and we're trying to create like a contemporary image or the branding of this Bangkok flower market. So 27 June Studio do the like 4 projects in the photo here. The first one is which I really like is that there's like a kind of a very dark and abandoned bridge, yeah, near the flower market. So the designer if you scan the QR code, you can decorate your own flower bouquet digitally, and then you can type your personal message, and it will be sent to the other side of the canal. So basically, you can flirt, you can flirt to the other side.
Flower in the water.
Ooh, like what's your name or what kind of flower you have? So it's like trying to create like a dialogue between the two sides of the canal. And then the next project that they do is that we use the abandoned building near the flower market, and the kids were just like, or the visitor was just like making like coloring the flower that they like, and then we will scan it, and then we project on the elevation of the building. So it's not just about being like performance that like we have a show to show, no, but we're trying to use the digital tools to create a participatory art in order for them to feel like, oh, that's my drawing, and that's my memories, and that's my experience that we have with the Bangkok Flower Market. And another project that they did is that they put like it's actually the underbridge structure, which is abandoned and in a very bad condition. But then the designer put this kind of AR art mapping where if you walk, the flower will bloom, when you walk around. So the more people that came to the field, the more flower that will be blooming. So it's like kind of like a narrative that the more people who came to the flower market, the better, or the more fun that the market would be. And then the last one, which is the very a bit more advanced one, because we kind of like do it for a few years now. So this year, the designer hidden the digital seed, what you see like an egg. So we hid it around the Bangkok Flower Market, like 10 spots, and it's very, very difficult to find each of them. It's like a gamification. And if you select 10 of them, then you can get like a piece of paper where you can draw and color the seed, and the color that you put on that digital seed will be bloom at the abandoned building. And if you got all these 10 digital seeds, and then you will get an award, like kind of like an award for your like a winner, you could, and you will get a free bouquet of flower from the local vendor. So we try to engage more and more people, because the first year is just like a show that you can type your personal message, but the latest one is like you will have to walk around, you will have to get to know the neighborhood, and then you will have to talk to the local shop, and perhaps they will give you a hint of where the hidden digital seed is. So it was really fun.
Thank you. We're running a little bit behind schedule. So I might just like skip and kind of bundle together some questions for other speakers a bit. So I would like to give the floor next to Kun Pat on like some of the examples of the successful use of digital tools to engage community, as well as you might also want to expand to what you're talking about on the AI and how it helps in personalizing the local people's upskilling, reskilling effort as well on cultural heritage.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so maybe we can start off with the last slide, please. The slide number 5. Yeah. So I think one of the theme, right, as the previous speaker have talked about, the idea of integrating advanced technology into the community and create new and meaningful experience. So I want to start with how we can potentially use AI to motivate people to learn about the community, and by using what we call generative AI. So in our research group, we have been working with this virtual character. Before it was cool, even this could be any character that represent the community. It could be historical or fictional character. And what we have shown here on this slide is that when you actually deploy this type of character, it can actually create motivation for people to actually learn the content of that education program. So using virtual human to help people connect with the learning material could be one potential solution. So if you step back a little bit to slide number 3. So one of the other example that I think more tied to the idea of cultural tourism is a project that we are currently working on with a museum in France. This is we are currently working with Leonardo da Vinci Museum. And what we have done is creating an AI character of Leonardo da Vinci based on the notebook. Da Vinci is famous for his historical notebook that he took note on, his invention, his artistic projects, and things like that. So we have created an AI system that allowed the visitor to actually engage with the memory of Da Vinci in an interactive way. And we call this living memories. So it's the idea of not replacing Da Vinci, but making that memories alive and active. One of the challenges for this is to make sure that the information is presented accurately and in the style of Da Vinci himself. So we have developed some novel pipeline or novel AI architecture that you can look further in our papers that I list here. But this is an example of how we can actually create what we call living memories that allow people to connect to cultural heritage across time. In the same theme, another project on slide 4, this is in the context of Thailand. So I work with a famous choreographer, Pichet Granchun, who is a contemporary Khon dancer. What we did here is another AI project that I think can be connect with the idea of bringing people to actually understand and appreciate the culture in a more in-depth way. So in this project, we are exploring a new form of intelligence. So not like, when we think of AI, it's usually from the Western perspective, right? Like robots or things like that. But here we want to create artificial intelligence that is based on Southeast Asia wisdom. So in this project, we extract the knowledge that is embedded in Khon and traditional performance in Thailand and use that to actually create an interactive avatar that can dance with the human dancer, with the human choreographer. And people can actually interact with the virtual character live on stage. So people can actually, we pass the microphone around during the performance, and people can talk to the AI and ask the AI to dance in different way. And this new choreography was generated based on the AI that has the local wisdom of the 6 element that was unique to Thai traditional performance. So in this way, you're not only showcasing the culture, but also revealing the knowledge, especially the choreographic knowledge behind it. And using AI to bridge the gap between human and culture, I think is really, really important. Last but not least, I would like to highlight the last project, slide number 2. Using AI in the same way, we're also working with a real estate developer in Thailand who is creating an urban forest, a new kind of community that allow people to connect with nature. So in this project, we're also exploring ways that we can use AI to not bridge between human and culture, but also human and nature as well. So here we deploy several low-cost sensor in the forest, in the urban forest, and allow the AI to be the representative of that data. So people can become more connected to, the things that is going on. Today AI is very static, right? It's connected to information like, knowledge on the internet and things like that. But there's also an unprecedented opportunities to connect that with living sensors that are taking information real time from the community, from the nature, from the forest, and allow the AI to sort of mediate that and be the one that represent the data in a more interactive way. It's also have like tremendous benefit on behavioral change, like bringing people more connected to the outside environment, and also have like impact on learning and education that we have talked about in the AI character as well. So I think this example of project really highlight the way that we can use AI to connect human, nature, culture, and could potentially have impact on the future of tourism.
Wow, thank you very much. There are like so many, not only beautiful and engaging like examples from both Kun Pat and Ajahn Supicha and from many more. I think like Kun Sirada also have some of the good examples to show. But I think like one of the key point is on how to market it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump straight to our final theme about digital marketing strategies for community-led tourism. So, like, I feel like content production is a trend right now. Like, we always call this bunch of people like content creator.
Yeah, content
influencers,
creator.
Right? And I personally, I watch a lot of vlogs about travel, about food, about fashion.
Yeah.
During my free time, because compared to that well-prepared TV shows, this kind of videos or this kind of contents brings me closer. So I want to bring this question about how important are user-generated contents in promoting community-based tourism experience. Well, may I invite Kun Philip, Dr. Sungpa Wam, and Kun Sirada and Dr. Supicha to share your insights on this question. Kun Philip, would you like to start first?
Yeah, thank you very, very much. I believe, what we are doing is trying to really in providing the contents, the product, and the service towards the customer trends that we believe and what we read from perhaps the academic expertise or from the industry trends, somewhat that will lead us to really create some of the product and the service to the industry or to the consumers, right? But I mean, this is one of the ways that what we are trying to do from what already existed, and make it just to be there for the consumers to pick it up and then utilize it. But I think one of the best so far, the what we call the re-engineering into other extents of maybe industry is to look at what has been done, and then we can look at back and what are the needed to be improved. Somewhat is this very essentials for maybe a business or maybe for the effectiveness of anything you do. So what we learned from the tourism industry, many already happens, like TripAdvisor is one of the ways that people always look at it and try to really study what are the review, the comments that tourists already experience to some certain product and service. And from there, they can, use it as a way to, redevelop their product and their service. So the content generation are very, very important. In our platform, we also have each of the service and the product who actually listed in our platform will have also the ability for tourism to, review and comments, not just on that, but partner also were doing the same. So we will use this as a way to actually trying to improve the quality of the service, the quality of the product, in order to meet the expectations of the users in the current and the future. So we believe this is one of the very, very important factors to be effective and hopefully to make our platform to be sustainable for the future. So I guess this is a very short comment for me on this user-generative content. Thank you.
Thank you, Kun Philip.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So I'm wondering, like, instead of using outsider influencers, how to create our inner influencers among local communities to amplify local narratives. Kun Sirada, would you like to share some examples or your insights on this one? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yeah. For us, in the field research that we work with many local communities, so we found out that actually in one specific place can have many dimensions and aspects of story depending on who is the storyteller, right? And which matches with our concept for the Roots is the kaleidoscope. With if you twist the scope, then it's change your aspect. So here are some of the most important example from our work. It's we co-creating the experience and also the routing with Kasayapi Hotel. So why is important? Because this one is a Kasayapi Hotel. It's like basically it belongs to two sisters in Thonburi side near Isarapap Road. And this is like a representative of a Thai aristocracy family that has lived in Isarapap area for more than 5 generations. And this is in the middle, you see Major General Praya Interawishit. And as much as we interviewing Kun Num on the left corner side picture, Kun Num is the granddaughter of Praya Interawishit. This is a very special story in a very special local point of view, which you could never find in like any guidebook, or you need to know that person so that you know the story, right? So we think that it's and maybe some special experiment for us to trying to bring this story into public audience, because this is like the local stories of the local who witnessed the community in depth and lived the intangible values and stories of the place, which give more powerful stories. And the visitors or anyone who listen or experience the story can feel the authenticity, right? And on the other hand, the local side as well can feel their pride and gives more power on how their stories are told. So that's why we see the importance of why we should highlight their stories. That it's the role of the roots in supporting and connecting locals and travelers by using the technology as well, because since we're a digital companion, right? So we're basically a local friend who will lead you to learn and understand about cultural heritage in a deeper level as our motto, like our roots and your route. So we come up with the criteria of like the main attraction for cultural heritage and for tourists, and also the secondary attractions and super local level attractions or hidden local spots and then we contextualize local spots with meaningful stories behind. Could you please go to the other pictures as well? So that it comes in our digital platform that we pin down more meaningful local spots. Could you please go to like the UI design? Yes. And next, please. Yeah. So in the route, we're trying to combine famous attractions and also local hidden spots and together, so that we make sure that the local spots are not neglected by tourists. Then next, please. And then we accompany with audio with the real local interviewing. Also, as well as combining the social media campaign engagement for tagging the location, so that the users or travelers can know more about like super hidden local place or something like that.
This is like having a visual and audio guide with
Yes.
you all the time,
Exactly, like a
walking
friend
in a city. Yeah.
guides you to a super local spot, something like that, by a local. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much. I mean, like, I love all your examples, all very colorful and very creative in all senses. So that actually leads us to the last question, so to say, like, and that would just go to Dr. Amran only. Like, after all these technologies and tools and good examples that we have seen over the course of this seminar, how can we eventually measure the impact of all this, digital marketing efforts on the community engagement and empowerment? Do you have some of the insight from what you're doing in Malaysia?
Tough challenge for me to answer this. Okay. I think this in any project now, we have to measure, right, the success, and we have to use some metrics. And especially now that we are replacing the metrics with new measurements, for example, the use of how digital marketing has influenced arrival and so on. But in my case, okay, so I have used a lot of measurements especially in the quantitative aspects or the monetary values, especially income, career progression. But in most CBT projects, we always miss out the non-monetary values. And I think these are very difficult to measure: self-esteem, level of confidence, pride in local community, the revival of diminishing cultural heritage. And I think it's all the excellent presentations that we listen to, all of these are contained, but how do we measure this? Because there are some dying, diminishing cultural heritage suddenly because of tourism and the use of technology. You bring back some of the traditional performances and rituals and so on. So I think that is key, that if you are trying to measure, do not forget these non-monetary values. I don't know if there is a very short video that you can share that sums out this.
We will be able to share it in the link if that is okay, because
that's fine.
Yeah, but sorry for that. But
yeah. So you can see that very short video that really exemplifies what I mean by this cultural values, pride in their work, and sharing with tourists, all this. So I think that's my hopefully answered the question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, like you concluded in a very pinpoint and sharp way. Thank you very much as well. And I'm sorry to cut this short. It's been like an engaging conversation among the 6 panelists. Thank you all the 6 panelists. So just before we conclude the panel discussion, we still have Kun Pattamon from UNDP here. And I would like to invite her to reflect a bit from the discussion that was built on also like partially upon your previous presentation as well. So Kun Pattamon, please.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank all the panelists for your sharing today. I have been very excited to hear all this, and it's a lot of learning for me as well. So thank you. I think while listening to all the examples and all the sharing, I have 3 quick reflections that I'd like to share with you at the end now. That I think when we talk about the use of technology, we realize that there are various contexts and conditions that we need to take into consideration. We have some contexts that require empowerment from the, development from the infrastructure level. Some cases where we see existing infrastructure and we need to build more on the local capacity. Some cases where we see basic capacity already in place and we see the chance, the opportunity to use digital technology as an empowerment tools for example, local youth to become creator of AI, which is the next step looking forward to the future. I think we need to take this local context in mind to see what is appropriate technologies in each of the case that we are dealing with. So I think that's my reflection number 1. We have to respect the local, diverse local context and design appropriate tools that we have in mind. Reflection number 2, I was just thinking that today, with the topic of the webinar focusing a lot on community-based tourism, on community engagement, but actually when we look at the use of technology that the panelists kindly presented in diverse form today, I think we shouldn't look at only the use of technology directly with the local communities, but how the technology can fill the gap in the tourism ecosystem. And that might indirectly benefit the community. For example, when we talk about AI usage, for example, in museum context, I think that's brilliant because I really enjoyed myself when I visit, for example, European countries. They have integrated a lot of these technologies in the museum, and it really stimulates the learning. And if we are able to do that, and then link the activities in the museum, the knowledge in the museum with something that the community can offer in the CBT context. That's something that would indirectly benefit the community anyway, although we might not be able to implement AI directly with the local community. Doesn't mean that it doesn't have value. I think there's a space in the whole tourism ecosystem that can benefit so much to use technology in the appropriate places. And the last and final reflection that I have, I would like to applaud the several panelists today that share about the failure. I think that's something that we need to really look at and value, because we oftentimes think about wanting to share success story, but at the same time, I think we learn as much or maybe even more from telling failure story or story of challenges that we meet along the way, and then we adjust ourselves to overcome. I think in the innovation, in the social innovation circle, we talk a lot about doing experimentation, doing testing. I think that is exactly what many panelists share today. I think we need to take our work, our efforts as a form of experimentation, because this is something new that we're trying to do, and to be able to reflect and adjust along the way with many examples that is being shared today. I think that's how we arrive at the successful case at the end. We need to fail along the way and learn from it and share our failure, share our learning, and then we can move forward together on this. So that would be my quick 3 quick reflections for today. Thank you so much for
Thank you. Thank you, Kun Pattamon, for your very comprehensive reflection and summary. Wow, and that wraps up our webinar today. We again would like to thank our esteemed and insightful panelists and the keynote speaker, as well as our active audience for yet another fun UNESCO activity webinar.
Yes, just before we part, UNESCO would like to advertise the next webinar that titled Pattaya and Sustainable Festival Tour and Event Tourism, Exploring Strategies for Growth and Development, which will take place on Wednesday, the 10th of April via Zoom. This webinar also has been generously supported by the Onyx Hospitality Group and Amari Pattaya Hotel. So it's actually not only in Zoom. For those who plan to travel to Thailand during Songkran vacation, you might consider booking to attend this on-site to join join the seminar physically at Amari Pattaya Hotel, Chonburi Province, all the links and the PR has already been put in your chat box as well. More information can be found there or by scanning the QR code here on the artwork that will be distributed on the social media and the UNESCO and City Connects and other partners as well. So last but not least, for audience who have joined us for 2 hours today, thank you so much for going overtime with us. You can scan here or check the link in the chat box again to give your feedbacks and collect your certificate of participation. Please complete the feedback survey by this Saturday to receive this e-certificate. Thank you very much as well. So we will keep the screen up for you until the Zoom is closed. Again, UNESCO would like to thank ASEAN Turkey Cooperation, DASDA, CREHAB, K11 Department Store, Onyx Hospitality Group, City Connects, B Consulting Cambodia, and Thailand CPTI for making this project possible. Lastly, dear audience and speakers, it has been such a great pleasure with you, and we hope to see you again in the next seminar on this coming 10th of April. So as for now, goodbye and have a good rest of the day. Panelists as well, all of you who are still with us. So we're gonna turn off this. Thank you, all the audience. So we're gonna turn off this, and the links, if you haven't received, we will send it by emails to you as well. The link to the feedback and get your certificate of participation. Thank you very much for your participation. We're going to go offline in 3, 2, 1. Thank you again, all speakers and everyone. Look, I'm gonna close this. Okay, see your face.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We're done. We're done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
bye-bye.
you. There's like one more person who wants to see all of you here. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for going over time, and thank you for plan changes and everything. So sorry for all these.
No problem.
But it's
Well
it's
done.
such a very insightful talk and everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Yeah, bye bye. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ